I am exhausted now. But in the beginning of the day, I felt boundless with energy, but calm, but excited. After typing up the description of this video, I realized there's no way I can really convey anything. But just to try, I just wanted to share. This last weekend was Mother's Day weekend. I spent the Friday before helping my relatives in Denver, and it was the experience of helping them and then spending Saturday taking out my daughter all over town, and then Sunday playing all day with her in the house. And then Monday, I had a really stressful, I had a lot of stress around a meeting. So all of these little experiences were kind of grounds for suffering, but grounds for learning. And so throughout the whole thing, this whole time, and leading up to it also, I've been taking little lessons. And a while before, inquiry felt like not the thing to do. What felt like the thing to do was just to be in body sensation. But I recently picked up inquiry. It started with a video. I keep rewatching the videos that I have that are like my teachers. So one video is Satsang with Papaji, and there's a woman who he invites up and he says, teach us, because she he saw that she was awake or realized. And she said this phrase, she said, I kept repeating, to whom is this thought addressed? Whom is this thought addressing? Which is, so that was her way to inquire of another way to, another inquiry that, other ways of asking this question that I've heard, that I've picked up, that hit me at different points were, who am I? Where am I? Which at first didn't make sense, but it hit me in a certain way that I thought, okay, let's really locate, when I say I, what am I really feeling when I say that? And I started pointing to things, kind of the breath and how it moves through the body, the combination of sensations and tensions in certain parts of my body, the focus of something, the pain of something, the anxiety of feeling like I might be judged or I might let someone down or not do well at something. The combination of those things. And of course, you learn that whatever we point to as an object, it's always a conglomeration of something. An example that's used sometimes is like a car is what our mind, we put that label on the conglomeration of the body and the chassis and the wheels and the trunk and the headlights. And if you take away enough of those parts, the car stops being a car. And there's this question of like, at what point does it stop being a car? So the self seemed to be the combination of sensations. So I kept up. It felt like the thing to do these last few days, to really dip into inquiry. And it helped me get through either the boredom or exhaustion or anxiety um, of the things that I was dealing with. I had an interesting experience on Monday. So I woke up really early, anxious about the meeting I had to prepare for. Um, and I went through a series of just contemplations and feeling into the body of like, what does this anxiety feel like, and what am I finding? And then I was seeking comfort in something, and it wasn't working right. And I found frustration instead of being frustrated or just being like, oh, whatever. There's a video that I saw recently on frustration, of like how that feeling, it's okay to give it the space and the respect of feeling how it shows up. So I decided to pause and really feel frustration and its voice. And I found myself crying, and I felt it saying the words, "How dare you not take care of me?" And I realized that so much frustration, if not the definition of frustration, is the child asking to be cared for, or the old person asking to be cared for. And it is the voice of helplessness. Um, but it's helplessness combined with rage of, I need you to take care of me. How dare you not be there for me? And that you is whatever you're frustrated with. The service person on a customer service call, the gadget that's not working, the anything like that. And I realized I've carried that rage in my life. So that was a nice release, because I gave myself, it was really hours of dipping into how does it feel in the body to feel all these things. Monday ended up being a really good day. And I wasn't really identifying with the fear and the anxiety. I thought the more space I give this, the better the day will go, the less I'll be holding on to this anxiety. And so I gave it so much space that Monday flowed, and those meetings went well. And I, went through the present, I prepared by, going through the slides and practicing, doing all the things. I asked for some advice from a teammate of how they do it, because it was my first time doing it, but some have done this already. And everything was fine. And I kind of knew that it would be, but it was like these two different parts of me. The body reaction of anxiety, I was able to step back from that, actually knowing that things are going to be fine, because I've felt this way before. So that was Monday. Today's Tuesday. Today, during the day on Monday, my aunt called me and said, "Okay, I need your help, emergency." Tomorrow being today. I tried to call off my brother, it didn't work out. So that was another wave of suffering turned to experience, like how to manage that wisely. This morning, it was just a moment while in the shower. I suddenly felt a very subtle shift. It was a shift of experiencing the sensations in my body the same way I experience something external. It was that simple. And I think it was the culmination, the release of that question, where am I? Or to whom is this thought addressed? Or who is feeling this anxiety? Because cognitively, I have heard this concept over and over and have been reminding myself of it, that the self is a combination of nervous system processes that are reacting based on conditioning.
Hey, let's do Just Dance Kids.
I love this idea. Can I have 5 minutes?
Okay.
I'll be there. I'll be there very, very soon.
I love you.
I love you, babes. So I wanted to share this because it was very, very subtle. But I saw quickly as I was driving to my aunt's that it implies something very big. Because if I'm experiencing my internal body and my internal sensations and processes, and I bet this will expand to thoughts, as an experience as objective as the weather, of like, oh, this is happening in here, out there. And since I've seen that when trying to find the self, the closest I ever get to pointing a finger at where that is in sensation. And if that sensation is now equivalent to external sensation or external experience, that means that whatever self there is boundless. So there's no matter what I'm experiencing, it does not confine me. Not this body, not a room. I thought while I was driving, of course, it's like Denver traffic. So sometimes I was going really fast and sometimes I had to slow down to 20 miles an hour. And there was no difference in that experience. And I was in somewhat of a hurry. And I thought if I was locked in a cell, it could be the same experience. If I, stuck in a traffic jam, locked in a cell, confined in this body, what is this I that's confined to anything? It doesn't exist. It's just the experience. So if experiencing this body is the same as experiencing this room, is the same as experiencing this world, there's just boundlessness. This realization feels like a moment that, because it's one thing to say all this, and I know that all these words that don't fully relate, because I've heard this stuff said 1,000 times, but when that sudden shift happens, when that perception just kind of changes how you relate, I changed how I relate to the experience of my body and the experience of life again. So there's a freedom there. And even though right now I'm exhausted and I can feel that I'm irritable, when I say I'm irritable, I feel even more now than before, that I can say, this nervous system is exhausted and it needs rest. It needs food. It needs, a deep breath. So I can more and more see that, it's just experience here. This vantage point's experience. That's what's up. There's no need to put it together into an I. And then, I is just a faster word to say than this nervous system or this locality of energy, which is what that feels like. The same way as the word God is a faster word to say than the energy of everything. And but that's what I mean when I say God, and that's what I mean when I say I. Kind of the locality of energy versus the energy of everything. And so I can understand now more viscerally how people can register this as the I am sense, where whatever the I has been understood to be, the experience of sensation or of experience, is now expanded to a boundless degree. So it's like, oh, I am everything. But it doesn't feel, it's with the understanding that the I is an illusion, that the I is the pointing at the combination of all those things. So there's no need to, it doesn't feel like I am, doesn't seem like the accurate way to describe it. Experience is the word that can come closest, but it just is. Um, it's nice that experiencing what used to, just remembering how contracted and how much I wanted to hide this. That it's like, oh, if you know this versus out there. Now that they're combined, where the experience of my body is just part of the experience of the out there. There is no out there. It's the experience. That's it. Things feel more free, more light, more enjoyable, less important. And I feel like I can dip into anything because there's nothing that I'm missing by choosing any certain action. And then it's just a matter of respecting that this is a nervous system that functions a certain way in this world, in this apparent world, and respecting the time and energy of others, that all of that fits back into life, and respecting the needs of my daughter. I'm gonna go play with her here in a sec, and how it fits into. I have fears come up sometimes of like, what if something happens to me? What will happen to her? How will she, you know? And I realize that the solution to that's been part of the suffering these last few days, is to trust life, because it's so funny how it all falls into place perfectly. And all the certain things that I noticed that I just didn't like how they were working, including having to go to Denver again today. It was perfect. And letting go of those little resentments and seeing the perfection in every arrangement, everything, that decisions that were made without my input or sacrifices I had to make, it all falls into a place of perfectness. And if I trust that, then I can put down that fear. And that fear sometimes takes over. That fear of what would happen to my daughter if I popped out. Because I have stairs in my, like, you know what I mean? It just takes one moment, one mishap. But I have seen again and again that trusting the way things are exactly as they are is the way to go. It's not a choice. I am ready. I'm going to go play with my daughter now. I love you. I love you.